Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today I'm going to be sharing with you a big old book haul. So I don't know how many books. I guess I will share with you right here because I'll have a count at the end. But I have a lot of books. My mental health has just not been great, so I've probably bought more books than I should have.
Would be a colossal understatement.
But that's okay. This is where we are. We have a lot of books here. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. Click the like button, comment down below, and let me know which one of these books I should prioritize. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. With all of that out of the way, let's just go ahead and get into this book haul. I would love to do these books in some kind of order, but they did not get piled that way. So these are just going to be completely random. I've got fantasy here. I have a little bit of sci-fi, I have some horror, some thriller, and a lot of romance as well, so we're all over the board with this one. Let's just get into this. The first book I have here is Paul Tremblay's The Cabin at the End of the World. I've already read this book, and I gave this book 3 stars. I read this last month, and I wasn't the biggest fan, but I liked that it made me think. So I just couldn't give it anywhere below a 3-star. Honestly, I felt like this book dragged, which is kind of weird considering it's like 300 pages. Thought it would be different, I guess. This book is about a family who's on vacation, and this group of people shows up at their cabin door and tells them that if they don't make like this crazy horrible decision, then the world's going to end. And lots of craziness ensues, but somehow it was still boring to me. And yeah, 3 stars. Next book I have here is Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I literally just picked this up yesterday. I had some credit at my local used bookstore, but this is a book that I don't know much about. I believe it's a Greek myth retelling, possibly, or inspired by Greek mythology. And I've only ever heard really good things about this. I hear you don't really know what it's about or what's going on until like halfway through, and then it's really cool. But the first half is like confusing. That's all I know. But I do want to try it. The next book I have here is Crown of Gilded Bones. This is the 3rd book in the From Blood and Ash series. Me and a few friends are doing a read-along. I will have the next live show date down in the description, but this is our book for, bye Hank. This is our book for, Hank. This is our book for, I'm trying to film here. This is our book for April? March? No, March. This is our book for March. I'm looking forward to getting to it because the way the last book ended was just like crazy, and I can't wait. Come on. Okay. He's a baby. Ah. Hank. Okay. So, the next book I have here is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I hear this is like a fairy tale meets Bridgerton vibes book. This is set during the Regency period in England. It's a romance, but there are fairies. Our main character was cursed by a fairy somehow. A fairy took half of her soul, and so she does not fully understand the emotions of those around her, and it leads to some social awkwardness, I guess. Here it's whimsical, beautiful. This has been considered like a cozy fantasy romance, and that's really been my vibes recently. I've been reading a lot of cozy fantasy and romance, and so I really want to pick this one up as soon as I can. Part of why I'm hauling it, so I can actually read some of these. Next I have Afictionados by a whole lot of different authors. Now this is going to be the Femmes Afictionados book club pick for April and May. So our live show is going to be in June. And you may be wondering, wait, but Hannah, there are male and female authors in this book. And yes, that is true. But there are more female authors than male. These authors are all BIPOC authors. This is a book that features original stories written by 33 acclaimed and award-winning authors. that I believe are all Black. And these books all showcase the breadth of fantasy and science fiction from Africa and the African diaspora. We really wanted to take a moment to appreciate Black authors, and I thought, like, what is a better way than basically trying to appreciate as many Black female authors as possible? So yes, there are male authors in here, but there are more female authors, and 2 of the 3 editors are female as well. So I just thought that this was gonna be fun. It's a little bit of an exception for us, but we are going to have some awesome special guests co-hosting our live show for this one. They'll be reading this along with us. It's going to be Bree from Lockbooktition and Daphne from Being Daphne. And I'm very excited to be able to chat about this book with them. So this is an anthology. Like I said, this was actually one of my most anticipated books of this last year, 2022. It came out in November. And I'm not usually into anthologies, but this cover alone just grabbed me. It's a really cool cover. Next, I have a new release, A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I just picked this up yesterday and I was so pumped to do it. This book is the prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. I love the world of this book. I loved the world in Priory, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that world. So I'm excited that she chose to write a prequel. Another more recent release I have here is Tress of the Emerald Sea. So about a year ago, when Brando Sando announced that he basically had written 4 novels in secret, me and my husband decided to go ahead and sign up for those releases as an anniversary gift to ourselves. So this is the first book. I've heard this is like cozy fantasy vibes, which yet again, I'm living in my cozy fantasy like era right now, so I think that's perfect. Not to mention, this cover is beautiful. Just the inside pages. And my husband and I just like freaked out. There's gorgeous artwork in it as well. And it's about this girl who lives on this island where she's like, you can't leave. She collects cups, I guess. I don't know, kind of like Little Mermaid-esque, where she kind of likes to collect human things that you wouldn't think would be something that someone would collect. And I guess she is in love with this boy, and this boy is taken off to go get married, and he doesn't come back, so she decides to go save him. And I remember listening to Brandon Sanderson read the first few chapters on his YouTube page, and I just loved the style that like he was going for with this, which now I know is more like cozy fantasy, whimsical. I think I'm gonna really like this book. I have another new release here, and this is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. This is a book by S.A. Chakraborty. It looks like she's gone by Shannon Chakraborty here, and she is the author of the David Bat trilogy, which I really liked, and this book is set in the same world, and it's about pirates, I guess, and I'm always looking for some good pirate books. Moving on to a couple books that I've already read. I have Trader Witch by Mary Mystery. Sorry, it's shiny, so I'll try to get it where it's not going to glare at you. But this is a Why Choose pirate romance. It's a fantasy romance, or you could say paranormal romance series. This is the first book in the series, and I absolutely adored this series. It's one of my favorites, and I just had to get myself a copy. Totally recommend it if you're looking for a Why Choose fantasy romance that has a lot of adventure, but also some really good spice as well. Another book that I've already read here is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This was like my number 3 spot favorite romance book of 2022. I cannot wait to continue on in the series. This follows our main character, who is a slave, and she finally earns her freedom, and she basically wants to go and get to this place called like the Orders, and here she's going to be able to train and learn more about her magic and hopefully convince them to help her enact revenge on those who killed her family. In the process, she meets Max Centarius, and he is the one who's going to be training her on her magic, and they develop a relationship. So like a student-teacher type of romance, and it's wonderful. I adored it. 5 stars. I cannot wait to continue on in the series. Following up with another romance, I have here Tessa Bailey's Secretly Yours. This is a new release, and I adored It Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker, and so I figured let's try another one by Tessa Bailey. I'm not usually a big contemporary romance reader, but I find that I really like Tessa Bailey's writing. Also, the main character, the heroine in this story, is a gardener, and I'm a gardener, and I think that's really cool. The next book I have here is The 10,000 Doors of January. This is a fantasy standalone, And it says, as the ward of the wealthy Mr. Locke, January Scholar feels little different from the artifacts that decorate his sprawling mansion. Carefully maintained, largely ignored, and utterly out of place. But when she finds a strange book, one that tells a secret of doors and love and adventure and danger, for the first time, January realizes that she can escape her story and sneak into someone else's. Is this a portal fantasy? A journey through books within books. Are books portals? Like, I don't know. I also adored the cover. Someone tell me, have you read this book? Is it a portal fantasy? I need to know. So next here I have a couple of Darcy Coates horror books. Darcy Coates writes cozy horror, and I really enjoyed The Carrow Haunt. So I decided to pick up Gallows Hill because this takes place at an old winery, and wine. I love wine. I love haunted house stories. I think it's going to be a good combination. I also have Parasite here, and this is a sci-fi horror set in space. And I love sci-fi horror set in space. Or at least I think I do. I've read one. Okay, I've read one, but I really liked it, and I want more. I want more. Other horror I have here is a gothic horror. It's T. Kingfisher's What Moves the Dead. I need to try more T. Kingfisher. I really enjoyed Nella and Bone. I own a couple of her books, and I need to get moving. Let's do this. This book is so short, so I need to get to it. Also, like, the end pages are really cool. I need to know what's going on with these, like, creepy ass rabbits. So I have some fantasy romance here. First, I have Fate of Wrath and Flame. I think this is an elf fantasy. So I think she basically gets confused for someone else and, like, takes their identity, gets close to the king or the prince who's an elf. There's a garden, there's thievery, and there's romance, and a really cool cover. That's all I know. I also have here One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a new-ish release that is a beautiful cover. It's supposed to be gothic. There's supposed to be a mystery. There's a highwayman, dark magic, gothic vibes. And it says, a maiden must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom in this dark gothic fantasy debut. Give me a gothic fantasy romance any day. I'll take it. Another gothic-esque fantasy romance, Hollow Heathens by Nicole Fiorina. I think this is about witches. I love witch fantasy romances. It's a forbidden, timeless, and haunting love story. Once upon a time, there lived a girl named Fallon who was taken away from her home shortly after she was born. And it looks like she returns to the town she was born and maybe falls in love with a hollow heathen, a very dark creature who caused the townspeople to live in fear. Sounds really good. Okay, so I have some mystery thrillers here that I'm pretty pumped about. I always like to have a mystery thriller on the back burner just to, like, break up some monotony, to just have a good fun time. I really do enjoy it. So here I have the mother, but let me say and preface first, I'm not giving synopses for these. I don't like to know much going in. I just like some basic buzzwords. Even like I want even less information than I get for my, like, fantasy or fantasy romance or romance type books. So this is The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hempworth. Don't know anything about that one. The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and I think this is like a one-by-one trope, kind of like a retelling of And Then There Were None. I also have Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment. I think it's set in Paris. That's all I know. Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. I think this is set on an island. It's giving me summer vibes, so. I have The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I've read three of his books now and enjoyed all of them. That's it for my mystery thrillers. So I have this, like, super beat up used copy of Unleash the Night by Sherilyn Kenyon. This is the 8th book in the Dark Hunter series, and this one is about a werewolf, I believe. And I can't really get into this because like we're in the 8th book of the series, but technically each book in the series does follow a different couple. I totally recommend this series if you're into paranormal romance. Sherilyn Kenyon knows how to write it. And I wanted to pick it up because it was like $2.50 and it's the next book. Like it's the next book I'm due to read in the series. So I wanted to get it. Also have here Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. This is a Mexican folklore retelling. Y'all know I love my retellings, and I'm always looking for more retellings from around the world, and I've heard really great things. I gave Mexican Gothic 5 stars, so I already know I like her writing style, and I definitely want to pick this one up. Okay, so next I have here another retelling. This is Ariadne, which is a Greek myth retelling. I have not had success with Greek myth retellings, but I hear from my good friend Kristen from Kristen Craves Books that she thinks that I might like this one. And it's not long, and it's just a retelling of Ariadne, who is kind of being imprisoned by a minotaur. I think the minotaur is her brother. Less than 300, or it's like right at 300 pages. So it's not long. I'd like to get to it. I'm always looking for more retellings, always looking for more standalone fantasy, and I'm really hoping this works for me. Next, I have here a bind up of the Binti novella trilogy by Nnedi Okorafor, and this is, I really enjoyed the first novella in this series, and I wanted to continue on. So I've read Binti, but there's also Binti Home, and what is the third one called? Binti the Night Masquerade. But this is a trilogy. It's sci-fi. These are novellas. Nnedi Okorafor introduces us to Binti, a young Himba girl with the chance of a lifetime to attend the prestigious Umza University, despite her family's concerns. Binti's talent for mathematics and her aptitude with astrolabes makes her a prime candidate to undertake this interstellar journey. I really like the first one. I might need to reread it though, but I figured it would be good to just get the bind up, and I saw this at my local Barnes & Noble, and I just had to pick it up. My last romance, and this is Penelope Douglas's Corrupt. I'm gonna try Bully Romance. I'm gonna try it. It's not something I've tried because I'm assuming I'll hate it. But that's not, like, I should probably find out for sure, right? Like, I need to know. And I liked Birthday Girl, and I've heard wonderful things about the series, so I figure, why not try it out? Finally, I have the first 2 books in a series here, and that is The Darkness That Comes Before and The Warrior Prophet by R. Scott Baker. This is a grimdark series that I don't know anything about, but I think it's like epic fantasy grimdark, and I hear the writing is beautiful. And I did hear, my friend Steve said that based on my preferences, he thought I might like, because a lot of people compare this to Malazan, but he said I might prefer this series more, especially because I'm a character-driven reader. I might like this more than Malazan. And as we know, I'm not currently continuing with Malazan. It is something I do eventually want to continue with, but it's not something that I can read well right now, given my mental health situation. So I figured I might try a character-driven grimdark. So yeah, that's 30 books exactly. So a pretty good haul. So let me know which books you guys think that I need to be prioritizing. Which ones of these should I read first? If you like this video, click the like button. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.